I am all but a concrete angel, encased there in stone, and in case you care, I'm still alone. I've got a phone with a bunch of people who've already called Jesus, and the Wizard of Oz has already granted them their wishes, and they don't need us. Nobody cares. You could go preach it for days. You could explain it, lay it all out in their face, and they're still lame. It's all ours to blame, and especially mine, that I would convince you of the lie I would find at the beginning. The very first thing the devil had planned for us was to have us come against the forces of sinning before we had the trust to know what love was, and that we'd be winning if we kicked up the dust, if we started spending our time in God's will. And yeah, when I was a young man, I went on an adventure. But for over a decade, I just sat around feeling guilty, ashamed, and comforted. And God the Father did try to reach me. And it was a charades of dishonor because I didn't listen. And I know I failed the mission. It's 2019, and the Advent's precision has us truly locked, has us truly caught with such a close battle between the Alpha and the Omega that if we don't go now, if we don't get those first few miracles fast, we're not going to reach the whole world. Okay, we're hurled into this. And for all we know, all we got to do is show with the power, and they'll all take notice. But what happens if it's a fight? What happens if it doesn't go up overnight? Because they don't want the parallels between Yeshua and Joshua, Mary and Lesley. They want the ultimate love story. And I'm sorry to say that story, it's being trampled upon, especially over here, where each of my tears fears it has no place to sanctify the ground or the human race buried 6 feet under. And how many of them have died? Just in the world wars, millions were slaughtered in the most terrible butchery. And look at me. What a silly, silly clown if I could stand here and just offer you a gown and say that I didn't have fear. I'm steering clear of settling. Yesterday, me and God had a conversation that was very troubling to me, because the devil sings unto my heart, and God makes concessions, and God compromises with me because of my humanity. And the devil would want my Abilify or my THC to be a bend in reality and something to fall back upon. And Joshua's Chronicles is going up today at the end of the day at 12 midnight tonight. And you're going to see that thing that was crawling up my leg that God had to banish into a box in the corner of the room has taken all of our time. Every dime. And this Advent season for me has been miraculous. It started when I was hard-hearted and I was spiraling around in outer space, thinking about how great it would be for me to just have my dreams fulfilled. But I've been to the dungeon and I've been to the tower. And when you read Joshua's Chronicles, know that the power that has come against us wants to finish the job. and with the pinpoint precision of what's going on, we can't hold back. It would be wrong. The worst thing we could do would be cursing the Jew and the Christian and the Gentile. Whether or not you see, Belial has a way to slay our dreams if we don't be part of them now. Because it's one mistake after another for me. And I'm saying this butterfly effect, I've had a vision of us ruling over 3 stars. Do you realize that would be a dozen or more planets? 3 stars. And it's a butterfly effect. A butterfly effect. So each day we delay now, by the time there's 3 stars, it might have well have been 1 billion years that we delayed. Do you understand? This is the very DNA of everything that's going to happen in eternity. Everything. We've got 13.8 billion years of cosmos. And I've gone and made a muck. Because Aristotle's vision of a universe revolving around one man's mission was enough to put a knife in a poor girl's arm and convince her she's the Antichrist, and it wouldn't be any harm for her to just dwell in my imprisonment on Damnation Row on my way to hell. And if you think that was the dungeon, sister, I'm telling you it was not. That place was well unto me. Even though I was locked down with a key, even though when I prayed on my knees, I could not receive any comfort, any consolation. It was just reprimanding. And by the time I was standing on hope, it was because I got a little bit more privilege and got to go outside. And you and I started doing with those privileges and those day passes, sin and debauchery. Energy drinks, cigarettes, bread garden, World of Warcraft, and I couldn't stop because I was abandoned at my altar, my salat, to that Allah, that formidable foe, that Belial, the one who could tweak it all and stand directly in the truth and just lead it astray to such a degree. By the time you figure out you've been going a degree off course, you're at the wrong island. You have led the whole ship down the wrong navigational path. Sister, I don't care if you were convinced you were the Antichrist. I do not care if you have nothing prepared to give these people. I do not care if you don't have a speech to tell these people. I will sit down with you and help you write a speech. Okay, you don't have to get up in front of these people. You could stand there beside me, okay? Do you understand? Just stand there beside me. Just confess with me so that this love story can go up. Do you understand? This love story is the story these people need. This is the gospel. The marriage of Adam and Eve finally coming together. This is all that there is going to be in forever, and World War III comes to sever, and it's fast. The advent can be faster. You understand? But who is your master? And what are you after? Because I've been inflicted. And this is very strict, and I felt it stricken. And I just think of what these people could have if they only had the power come to this earth. The power of love, the thing they deserve, the thing they preserve, the thing they thought they had in their religion. And we know our vision. And they don't have that. And they're about to throw their fists. And we're going to lay back like this. And I know you've felt my kiss. I know you have. I've got the insider scoop. I'm talking to God. Okay? Don't delay. Soon it will be Judgment Day. And I want to stand there and know I am safe with my wife in my arms, and there's nothing more important than her soul and the womb in which the birth of Abraham's seed is giving all promise, its fulfillment and fruition. Why should we go to our crosses? Why should the father of lies stop us from creating paradise here? What's going to happen? Are we going to stand here as ghosts? Are we going to be punished severely? Who knows? Are we trapped here no matter what? I'd want to have a cup with you in the morning with coffee in it. I'd want to wake up and be able to go for a jog with my wife down the street. You know? I'd want to be able to walk on the beach and not think I have to freak out at all these people sitting there enjoying themselves while the world ends. And this world's not about enjoying. But it's almost like that's the temptation. What are we going to enjoy? Because there's been me, I've enjoyed my dream. I've enjoyed envisioning cosmos, and I've been able to discern 3 stars and see such things. And the Advent has been beautiful, and God, He sings unto me a musical fanfare. Come and see the man there at the altar. Come and see me down on my knees. Come and see me here, where I'm low and I'm humble to you. And I promise, if you trip, I will tumble too. And I won't get up off the ground unless you're with me. And I promise I will take the blame for this, okay? That I would cast the crown of thorns and be so ashamed of my thorns that I do nothing sufficient until the very, very end, when the only one that listened was a girl on the other side of this lens. And who were we that all this would be happening to us? Where did we place our trust? That serpent, that dragon, would be on the doorstep of victory over God, lest we act on the promise given to Abraham that the goddess giving birth to who God is would survive, even though he went to his cross and died. Somehow, God can make good of such a thing. And look at it, here's a king. But I know my sling and my stone isn't enough. I've thrown enough rocks. This Okanagan Lake, the great place to turtle here, is in these churches, in these communities. And it would only take a few of these churches simulcasting across the world to wake everyone else up. But it's the love story we need. It's the glory. It's what we need on the inside. We have to heed the warnings. And it's not just about being sorry. It's not just about feeling spiritually poorly. It's about knowing why we've got a job to do, because we haven't done enough. I did something in the beginning and got caught up in sickness and defeat, and I did something at the very end with this Advent proclamation. But that's in between. I was trapped. I was locked down, and I'm 33 years old, the same age Jesus was when he was crucified. And this is all because Judas lied. One bad Jew did all of this. It's a butterfly effect. Every choice we make has consequence. And I want to see. I want the light to shine upon me. I don't want to stand in the vileness of earth and feel somehow, some way, this is what I deserve. Some reason that cross was judgment on my soul. Judgment on Michael. Because he must have laid something down to pick up this crown of thorns. Why were we born here and not in heaven? Why were we born to be torn apart? Why is our only hope coming together? And why are we in this situation? What did Adam and Eve do to cause the fall? And if it wasn't us who caused the fall, how did the serpent do this? This is the way. This is the answer. In spite of all of that, we know what God is after. To rescue us. And at last you trust that I truly do have a tender heart. And I'm sorry I left that scar on your arm and left a mark and caused you that harm. And I'm sorry I was so convincing that you were the Antichrist. Can you come into my arms? Can you reach across this lens? Across this iPhone? And come into the embrace that it takes for us to create the promised child, and that the miraculous, the power to heal those in need with the wheelchairs and the blind eyes, that's going to come through this. And I have to come back to a place of clarity to know that it's not a thumbtack in my heart or in my brow or on my lips, but it's a thorn that sits and festers. Yes, I know it pierced you too. Especially with the fierceness of the fear that this provokes when you're feeling cast away by the Holy Ghost. Come unto me. Turn to God. And let's fix this. Let's know this gift is not ours to hoard. Whatever we laid down in heaven to come here is nothing compared to what rock bottom is to the innocent people who we let down. Now let's lift them up out of earth and into Eden. I don't know why I was born with the umbilical cord around my throat. I don't know why that serpent constricted upon me so tight and held me so close to itself as I struggled just to find an ignorant bliss in a television show I could not miss, or debauchery's kiss. You see, what have we done to deserve what we're inheriting? I don't feel worthy, but I feel on the inside. I'm not 30. I'm 33. And if this world was going to crucify me, it would be right soon, very quickly. And I'm no longer sickly. I'm no longer battling the plague of every mental illness. But what God did to fill this heart in this Advent year, what God did in me with his challenging and baffling trouble unto us, I have to be able to trust I can instill in you across the internet. And I hope you come with expectation. I hope you come just knowing. I hope you come just feeling assured that you, your womb, your heart, your mind, your soul are cured. Okay? There's nothing between us that's going to stop me from embracing you. You know, I will be your Jesus, and I know what it takes to find truth and grace, finally prove that this race is ours to run. But look at what the heart has done. It has sat back in the bleachers, running shoes on, all the training I could have needed. And I'm sorry if this all got heated. But the disappointing conversation I've had with God has shown me that even this joyous place of where we're meeting, flowers in my hand and a fanfare on the internet, I am truly incapable of maintaining. Not distant from you. As long as we're apart, all of this is just a work of art. And there's just reason to fear if we don't steer clear. For the end is here. And if we don't listen, we are going to embrace a vision of cosmos beyond grace. What's going into the cistern? What's going into the box? If the Lord of Lies, Belial, fulfills what it talks, if it fulfills its will, and we fail God, where is the serpent going from here? Is this entire cosmos going to be a terrible place of fear? Is this entire world going to be a war zone forever? Will it be Mercury? What happens if the apocalypse comes before the Advent? And that sinister smile on the devil's face, as he laughs at us. And without a trace, the last of us, the last bit, is gone, as if it was pinned to a cross. For a world that didn't belong to God's master plan, lost as disaster crammed us with lies that devised means of mass destruction. And World War III and all its corruption broke us. Like that. And the things that came, shuts in the dark in God's name, because they claim they have night. I say we have a right. We have a right to light. We have a right to our daily bread, to be fed, to be sped away in a cosmic shuttle that will keep us at bay, out of the way of trouble. And I look, it's not subtle, the things that have haunted me, because I've been to the dungeon before I ever got to be free in that tower, in that spire. And Joshua's Chronicles will explain why I remain here, steadfast and strong, Though my heart is tender and bruised, and it's so easy to feel that pain there, it intrudes. And the dungeon was something so horrific. And all I could do was stand there within it and drink from the toilet like it was my last drop. As the fanfare tore through me, and I knew somehow this was the last stop. It was all gone, cinder and ashes. And how long will I stand there and bear those lashes? How long? And what was this Advent season? Something so drawn into miraculous at the very pinpoint choice from which we will either be saved or destroyed, blessed or bewitched, sorrowful or enjoyed. What will it be? How will we avoid World War III and the consequence of failing for all eternity? Will we be wailing? Will we truly endure the hardship that paints a picture all those sorrowful stories are for? That tomorrow's soul would die dirty and poor because we took today and yesterday and cast it away to Yeshua's grave? Let us pray. Let us bow and know. We have to know which way we have to go. We have to stop playing games.